Now I'm going to show you how you can create custom hierarchies in your Powerpivot model. Hierarchies are useful because they improve the usability of the model. For example, if I have a hierarchy that has category, subcategory, and product levels, if the user typically analyzes data by this logical path, the user doesn't have to go and drag these fields individually on the report. Instead, they can just drag the hierarchy on the report and they can drill down by the hierarchy levels. And the second advantage of hierarchies is performance. Suppose that you have a customer table that has millions of customers. If you just allow the user to drag the customer name field on the report, you may actually have performance degradation because Powerpivot is going to ask the server to bring 1 million values on your report. However, instead of allowing the user to do that, you can hide the customer name column, and then you can implement a hierarchy that consists of territory, maybe country, city, zip code, and then customer. So when the user goes and analyze this the customer data, they have to actually use this hierarchy. Implementing hierarchies in Powerpivot is very easy. You have to switch to a diagram view by clicking the diagram view button in the home ribbon. And then let's say you want to create a hierarchy in the product table that consists of product category, subcategory, and product name levels. There are several ways to create a hierarchy. The first one is to click on the Create Hierarchy button. Now, before this, let me just warn you that when you create hierarchies, it's very important to make sure that you're working in the default perspective. Because if I choose the internet sales perspective, for example, that's going to filter the metadata, and any hierarchy that I create is going to be assigned to the internet sales perspective only. And when you go to Excel, you will see that this hierarchy is only visible if you select internet sales. But if I want that hierarchy to be available across the entire metadata, then make sure that the default perspective is selected. Once this is done, just click Create Hierarchy in the table where you want to create the hierarchy. That's going to create a hierarchy with the default name of Hierarchy 1. You can change this to whatever name you want, like product categories in this case. Now, this hierarchy doesn't have any levels at this point. If I want to go and add levels, I have to, at this point, select the column that I want to include and say Add to Hierarchy Product Categories. And then, as you can see, the product categories now include this column, this level. Then I can do the same for product subcategories, and then for the product name. So now I have a hierarchy that consists of product categories, product category, product subcategory, and product name. Now the levels don't have to match the column names. For example, I can right click on the first level here and rename it to category, just to make it shorter. And the product subcategory, I can rename it to subcategory. And then the product name to maybe just product. So here's our hierarchy created. Another way to create a hierarchy is to create a hierarchy faster is to select the columns that you need to be added to the hierarchy. For example, in sales territory, let's say I want to create a hierarchy that let me drill down by region, by group, and then by country. I can select these columns, all these columns, hold the control key to multi-select them, right click and say create hierarchy. Then what this is going to do is going to create hierarchy, and it's going to include these columns in one step. Not only this, but also it's going to attempt to actually detect the cardinality, the one-to-many relationship between the columns. So it's going to put the one that is on the one side of the relationship on top of the hierarchy. So let's go and change this hierarchy name to sales territories. And again, if I want, I can go and rename the levels to whatever I want. They don't have to be, they don't have to have the same names as the source columns. And if you remember my example about the customer, if I want to hide at this point the source column, in other words, to force the user to use these hierarchies, I can go and select the source column and say hide from client tools. Another way to accomplish the same thing is to click a level in the hierarchy and click hide source column name. That's going to hide, in this case, the territory region column, which is the source column for that level. Testing hierarchies, it's very easy. Let's go and create a pivot table report real quick in maybe an existing worksheet, and let's go and put that into sheet 3, cell B2. Now, as you can see here, the Powerpivot field list in a moment ago actually doesn't say right now, but in a moment ago it was saying it was displaying the refresh button because it detected that there were some metadata changes made to the model. But since I created a new report, it automatically refreshed the metadata. So to test the hierarchy, let's go and add the sales amount field on the report. And now let's say that I want to drill down this field by product category, subcategory, and product. So instead of actually adding those fields to the report, I can just go ahead and select this new product categories hierarchy that we created, which consists of these 3 levels. So I'm just going to go and check it. And now we have this hierarchy added to the report, so I can drill down the hierarchy level. And I can do the same thing for the sales territories hierarchies that I created, which was added to the sales territory table.